Let's first talk about general principles to guide instruction. After engaging in this video, you'll be able to explain general principles such as backward design that guide your planning and instructional strategies. So, as we are moving toward the end of the semester, we are actually learning how we can plan and carry out the instruction. So remember at the beginning of the semester, we have learned student characteristics and behaviors. There are sources of diversity. We learned last week how we can create a conducive environment. And this week, we're going to learn how we can plan the instruction with different types of instructional strategies. And after Thanksgiving, we are going to learn how to use assessment to promote students' learning. So all of these are interconnected and interdependent. So depending on students' characteristics, for instance, you may change instructional strategies, or you may foster different types of classroom environment. So first of all, you need to determine what you ultimately want students to know and be able to do. And this is referred to as backward design. I'm pretty sure that many of you have first heard this term, but I'm going to explain it in the next slide. So just give me a moment. And you should also use a variety of instructional strategies. You are going to learn teacher-directed and student-directed instructional strategies by skimming the textbook and by watching the very informative and insightful videos of your peers in the next sessions. So I hope you enjoy. You need to help students make sense of, remember, and apply classroom subject matter. And we should really need to focus on knowledge and skills that are most likely to enhance students' long-term success. So as a teacher, we have to keep thinking whether the content that you're teaching or the skills that you're teaching would actually be beneficial for your students. And if not, maybe you need to teach something more like relevant and useful for your student success. And of course, we need to provide some structure and scaffolding for activities and guide assignments. So as you can see, these are very general and obvious principles, but we can sometimes overlook. Before moving on to other principles, let me briefly explain what backward design is. As its name implies, we are doing something backwards, like from the end. So backward design, we first identify the desired end result in terms of knowledge and skills that we want our students to accomplish. And this outcomes include the meaningful learning, conceptual understanding, and complex cognitive processes required to get to end results. So we first think about what our students want to accomplish or want to obtain after the lesson. So after thinking about these goals and the expected accomplishment, in the step 2, we determine acceptable evidence, because we need some kind of evidence to see if the students have accomplished the goals or not. And this is when the assessment comes in. So like formative assessment or summative assessment to verify that students have achieved those results. Like for instance, we have learned motivation, right? And the goal of the motivation, the instructional goals were that I want you to explain important concepts of motivation theories, and more importantly, I wanted you to apply motivation theories into your learning and or teaching. So that's the reason why I came up with the idea of motivation case study. And for instance, I have you think about your previous teachers who have who have promoted your competence, autonomy, or relatedness, so that you can practice how this theory can be applied into real classrooms. I also ask you to write about how achievement goal theories can be used to foster students' development, students' mastery or developing. So these are the instructional activities that would enable students to practice, master the knowledge and skills identified in steps 1 and 2. And the other general principles are quite straightforward. So living in the 21st century, we should know how to capitalize on technological innovations to enhance students' learning and performance. And students' diversity cannot be too emphasized. We should always take students' diversity into account when planning and carrying out instruction. And we are going to learn this toward the end of the semester. We should regularly assess and provide feedback about students' progress using formative assessment.